All right, post-game thoughts with Gwaltnir. I think we're all processing what we just witnessed in Boone at the Rock in the App State UNC game. First of all, amazing crowd, biggest crowd in history. We all knew it would be. Thought it was loud, it was great. Cheered the right times, hung in there even when it wasn't looking very good in the second and third quarters especially. So when the comeback did start happening, we were all there for the players, and I think that obviously made a big difference, and should be another sign once and for all. It's just why he stayed at the end of the game. 63-61, that's a lot of points at the Rock, and there's been, in the FBS era, we've played Savannah States, Gardner-Webb's, Campbell's, Elon. We've played a lot of FCS opponents and lower tier Sun Belt opponents, and normally do not put up 61 points. So whatever that has to say about the accomplishment today, I think that's incredible. Looks like about 388 yards in the fourth quarter alone, and but we knew where the holes were. I think we knew the defensive front was going to struggle for a while this year as it built up some depth and some experience, and that was definitely the case. When you play a team, a G5 team like this, one of the concerns I always have is, are you just out-athleted at certain positions, and how do you avoid those big plays? And we really didn't do that. We got a lot of big plays, a lot of big rushes. Carolina's running backs were good. I thought Drake May was fantastic. We had a real hard time dealing with him unless we put pressure on him. We had two drives when it was 21-7 or 21-14, and we sacked him twice and didn't get off the field. And you gotta finish those. You gotta finish those downs. And we just didn't. And it allowed some points earlier in the game that really could have changed things later on. Secondary, we knew was going to struggle for a while too, outside of our corners, and we didn't put pressure on Drake May, he didn't miss very many passes, and that killed us. We're going to have to tighten up, that for sure. I expect this team's going to get better on defense as the year goes on. I also expect some of one of the better offensive teams and that we've played. On our offensive side, Chase Bryce is 25 or 26. I go back and forth on the 2-point conversion. The first one, if you overthrew Davis or not, or Davis he kept running. I don't know. I've even heard a couple announcers say different things, but it clearly was a play that we could have made. That being said, it would have been 28 seconds left. We scored a touchdown in 19 seconds. We would have had to defend about 40 yards. Probably would have had to defend at least 4 plays during that time. Do we make the stop? Who knows? But it was clearly a lot of football left with 28 seconds left. Just kind of looking to see who, the running backs were what we knew we had a deep running back set. Nate Noel had the hot hand. I kind of wish we had used him a little more after we realized he had the hot hand. That first touchdown run he had was awesome. He split the secondary. He was just out fast. He was just faster than the Carolina secondary. It was just awesome to see. That was one of the more fun rushing touchdowns I can remember watching live. People struggled to get penetration. He seemed to be kind of slow getting started. Sometimes against teams, if they can stand him up, he gets stuck at the line of scrimmage and just doesn't get that weight going downhill. But he was fresh at the end of the game and broke off an awesome 30-something yard touchdown late in the game. I think it was about 4 minutes left. I think that was the first tie, if I'm remembering that right. It was so many touchdowns, it's hard to remember. Chop looked awesome. That's when having a deep running back helps. Just continue to pound it, and we had fresh legs. That was the whole. We've had that for years with Cox and Jalen Moore, and at the end of the game, one of those guys was just super fresh. So I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. On the wide receiver side, replacing the big four was, it's going to be kind of fun to watch who it is. Look like Deshaun Davis had the most receptions. Christian Horn, he had that huge touchdown towards the end of the game. Hayden Robinson looked great, and I mean those touchdowns at the end of the game were fantastic routes, fantastic throws, and I think we're going to be excited to see what these guys can do. Chase Bryce had 6 touchdowns to 6 different receivers. That's fantastic. Again, a 25 for 26 game for him. He wished he had that one throwback, probably. But overall, I mean, it was a gutsy performance by him, and I'll never forget that fourth quarter. I mean, 62 points scored total. With an offense like this, it's hard to think of us being out of too many ball games once we get into conference play. But it's tough loss. Going to be a memorable game. We were in it. I think it was about the 7 minute. Starting the fourth quarter, teams weren't scoring every minute, and we hadn't really done anything in about half the ball game, and was just trying to figure out, is there a chance to maybe just go hold them scoreless in the fourth quarter, get 2 touchdowns, make it a little more respectable. About that 7 minute mark, we started realizing there was a lot of football left, and at some point the clock was going to run out on some team, or someone's going to finally make a play. Going back and watching that second 2-point conversion, I think Carolina did bust that play up pretty well. I don't think Peoples could have, if he had taken the handoff, I don't think he could have got in there. We may have been able to throw it to Robinson. He had a guy on him. It was probably worth a shot, but they busted it up. But Chase Bryce gave his all. I mean, he probably got within about a foot of the end zone on that dive before he fumbled the ball and ultimately recovered himself. But heck of a game. Looking forward to more, and this team's going to get better, and we've had some teams that get better as the season goes on, and again, with the experience level at some key positions, some guys getting the first time out, I think we're going to like that. We'll say defensively, Nick Hampton, 2.5 sacks. It's awesome. Missed a couple tackles that he would love to have back, but that was that drive. We probably could have gotten off the field, and who knows, it could have definitely changed the outlook of the game by the time it was over. But but you put up 40 points in the fourth quarter. That's going to be something we remember forever. Wish it was a W, but I don't think Carolina's going to be coming to Boone anytime soon with the shenanigans that happened in that fourth quarter. It was an awesome thing to see live. It was great. So I'm looking forward to this team, and expect the defense to improve. If we go back and look at our Sun Belt Conference Championship runs these 4 straight years, with the exception of 19, I would say that defense was really what won us most of those conference championships. There was a lot of decent offenses. A lot of teams could put up 35, 45 points in games, but when they played us, they were getting 10 points, 17 points. Not a lot of yards on the ground at all, and I still think that's ultimately going to be the winning formula in the Sun Belt, is having at least one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the conference. We're probably not there right now, but we got a lot of our big games towards the end of the season, and I think it's time this team could probably definitely get significantly better by that point, and round out to be a pretty solid defensive team. So I'm hopeful. And that's my post game.